We've had the first day of E3 press conferences, and so far the big news is that Microsoft are also partnering with Valve as much as they are Oculus. So hopefully the Valve HTC Vive VR headset will work in Windows as well as the Oculus Rift. Plug in and play, hopefully, if Microsoft has supported it, as it seems that they are. Microsoft also did a presentation of Minecraft with the HoloLens, and it looked in the video absolutely extraordinary. However, I do fear that Microsoft might get a little bit of backlash when people actually try the HoloLens and realise that the field of view is actually quite limited and it looks absolutely nothing like their promotional videos. Other than that extraordinary Minecraft demonstration and the announcement of support for the Vive as well as the Oculus Rift, Microsoft really didn't have that much more to say on VR. Having had a better chance to look at the Consumer Rift now, it certainly looks a lot smaller than the DK2. The fabric making it also look a lot nicer in terms of sort of polish and final feel, and it definitely looks as if it'll be far more comfortable, especially the way the side straps work and the more sort of rigid way it mounts onto your head, probably making it a lot easier to take on and off. The actual size of the unit, I think the size of it is really surprising. It does look a lot smaller. I think a lot of people expected it to be smaller than the DK2, but it genuinely looks as if it's width-wise as well as depth-wise has shrunk quite significantly. And on Palmer Lucky's face when he was doing his interview on IGN, the Consumer Rift just looks absolutely tiny on his face. Maybe he's got a big head, but you know, it just looks like they've made the Consumer Rift a lot smaller. But really, with the Oculus presentation and what we've had so far, nothing too mind-blowing has been announced. Of course, bundling the Xbox controller was a bit of a surprise, and the Oculus Touch controllers, which are still in development. That's quite interesting, but until people get hands-on with the consumer Oculus Rift and we get some more technical details, then it's a little bit up in the air, and we're just going to have to wait to find out more information and the stuff that we actually want to bite into. With Sony's presentation, their sort of press conference that they do pre-E3, though they've got 30 VR titles and it looks like they are, you know, properly committing to the Morpheus, from the presentation it would seem as if they don't really care that much about VR. They're not really putting the Morpheus up front, you know, shouting about it and making a huge thing of VR. They've kind of shown it, but they've not pushed it as much as you'd expect of, say, you know, if it was a new console launch, or you know, when the PlayStation Eye was first announced, or that sort of a thing. It's as if Sony want to go into it really slowly, and I think they're just being super cautious. Now, in some ways I can understand why they're doing that, and obviously it's an accessory and it's potentially an expensive accessory, so maybe they're going to wait for the Morpheus to come down in price before they start really aggressively pushing VR on the PlayStation 4, or maybe even wait for the next console generation. But it's kind of makes me feel a little bit edgy that they're not really pushing it now, because you're going to maybe get people that, you know, some people will pick it up, but it won't be that popular because it wasn't marketed well, and some of the games that they actually showed don't really look that exciting to me. I think there's probably 2 or 3 that might be on the show floor later, you know, that really will encapsulate VR. And I've seen some of the Sony demos previously that look really nice, you know, nice little miniature stuff on a table, things you can fiddle with, that would be really fantastic in VR. But some of the stuff they showed off in the press conference just seemed a bit, I don't know, a bit like stuff that you'd probably already get on a normal console, sort of FPS type things or third-person games that you generally just play anyway without VR, so you might not need VR for them. Not completely designed for VR games, which is what I think is required to really push VR and make people really excited for it. One of the games that Sony showed off, by Media Molecule, animation type modelling game, that to me would seem to be the absolute killer VR title for something like Morpheus. Now, I don't know if the PlayStation 4 has enough power to be able to make that game work as a VR title, but if that was done as a VR title, I don't think it is, but if that was a VR title and worked with the Morpheus, as well as the Morpheus hand controllers allowing you to paint characters, paint scenes, and then rig them and move them around like puppets doing, and setting keyframes and animating it all, that would be incredible and absolutely unbelievable to use with VR. So maybe they will put VR support onto it in the future. Maybe that project's a little bit far away, so they don't want to commit to anything. To be honest, that and the new Ico game, Ico Shadow Colossus game, look to be the only two really exciting things from Sony. And as I say, the Morpheus just seemed to be pushed to the sidelines a bit. We'll see how it goes. I think maybe they're thinking that VR is always something that has to be experienced to be promoted, because you can't really convey VR in videos too well, and that's probably the case with the Oculus as well. So that pretty much sums up, in my opinion, what are the exciting VR announcements from the E3 press conferences and the Oculus launch party. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment asking questions for our next video. I'll see you in the next VR bump. Goodbye.